Welcome back to Colleagues Communicating with Coffee. I'm your host, Greg Butz. Today, our very first guest is Peter Lutz. Peter, welcome to the show.
Hello. Are you sure this is a real show, Mr. B?
Okay. So our first question today is, so Peter, how socially distant are you feeling these days?
Right now I'm feeling a little too connected, maybe. But overall, I'm definitely practicing social distancing and wearing a mask when I'm out in public to try and protect others. I'm actually feeling quite connected to my students, virtually, of course. I've been impressed with how well they're communicating with me and just how easy it is, honestly, to do this virtual communication. Now, we'll see how much work we all get done, but I think it's working pretty well.
Well, you gotta make do with all that you go through.
Okay.
Next question. So, tell me something innovative that you're doing with your classes.
So honestly, this is my first time using Google Meet in the last couple of weeks, and I've been pretty proud that I've been able to accomplish that. But I will say that my first effort to post a recording of a lesson, I had to readjust my settings, so the sharing settings, so the students could actually see it. So I learned about that. That was a small victory, though.
So, Peter, tell me about this food drive that you're arranging on Thursday.
So thanks for asking about the food drive. It was honestly driven by my thinking about this challenging time that we're all going through, and really my family and I's just real blessed situation that we're in, to have jobs and have a place that's comfortable to be sheltering in place and that kind of thing. And so we're really privileged, and I was thinking about others in our community that I may have some connection to that would not be in such a privileged state. And also thinking about one of my favorite quotes from Dr. Martin Luther King, which is life's most urgent and persistent question is, what are you doing for others? And so I was thinking about what I could do in this moment and what we could do as a community, Cottonwood, to help others. And so through Social Action Club, we've been connected and becoming more and more connected with a group called the Immigrant and Refugee Resource Village of Albuquerque. Usually we use the acronym IRVA. And so I reached out to the folks that are the leaders of IRVA and asked them if a food and supplies drive would be of benefit to them, and took some discussion back and forth and a little discussion with Mr. Binnert, but it seems like we've got it up and running, or at least we're going to try it today. And the plan is to provide food and supplies on a weekly basis on Thursdays. The drop-off will be at Cottonwood Classical Preparatory School, of course, and then I will deliver the food and supplies to IRVA afterwards on Thursday afternoon/evenings.
But wait, how can students do this with a shelter in place?
So regarding doing this safely, at least for this week and probably next week, I'll be the only one interacting with people dropping off, and also with IRVA, I'll take all the items with me. So the drop-off location will be a pretty much self-service drop-off. Folks can just put items on the table, and then I'll wipe the items down. Of course, I'll be wearing my PPE and wipe the items down, then load them in my truck, and then I'll take them to IRVA, and then IRVA will be doing the distribution to all the families. So really, there'll be limited contact between people on this, and no contact with students initially for sure. But perhaps as things, if and when things loosen up a little bit, we'll be able to have more students involved. But obviously students can be involved by encouraging their families to take just a few items even down there, maybe even helping families coordinate to have one person pick up from multiple different families, and they're again trying to practice social distancing, maybe just leaving items outside for someone to pick up, that kind of thing.
That's good coffee.
Not bad.
Peter, do you have any other words of hope for your students right now in our final question?
So another good question. I don't know that I have necessarily words of hope, but maybe just some advice, most especially for students to be patient with themselves and others in this time of transition. I know especially for them, they're trying to jump back into school in this format when we as teachers have had more time to look into things and set ourselves both intellectually and emotionally for this. So be patient with yourselves and your families. I would try to set a regular daytime schedule. Like while the rest of us are awake and working, you should be awake and working, that kind of thing. And unplug and have some analog time with your parents. I know this that interface may be a little bit confusing at first, but it becomes more natural over time. And lastly, speaking of nature, find a way to get out into nature. And just this spring right now is amazing, and it will help to soothe the tension that's going on, and of course be socially distant while you're there. Which is all the better, because then you're alone with nature. So that's my advice.
Well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you, Peter, for stopping by.
Well, Greg, even though I'm not sure this is a real show, that was kind of fun. So thank you very much for the good questions, and I like the format.
Tune in again next week as we talk to our next colleague. Have a great day, everybody.